person who finally received the object of a year-long pursuit does not feel what they anticipated. For an afternoon, they are illuminated from within. The car, the title, the confirmation. They earned it. They should feel this. And then, so quietly they will not permit themselves to register it, the floor returns to its original level. Within a week, they are scanning for the next target. They will call this drive. It is not drive. It is the discovery, made and unmade 100 times, that the having was never capable of filling the space the wanting created. You are doing this now, are you not? Already orienting toward the next acquisition, convinced that this one will land differently. It was never the thing, it was the wanting, and the wanting has no flaw. The mechanism is not broken. It is functioning exactly as designed. Your error is believing the hunger is for a meal. It is not. The hunger is the point. Where this begins is not where most people look. They search for trauma, for deprivation, for some original wound that explains the endless reaching. The pattern is older than that. The infant who has just been fed does not rest in satisfaction. The infant scans for the next stimulus, the next change, the next arrival of the mother into the room. The nervous system is not built for contentment. It is built for vigilance. Contentment is a temporary state that signals danger if it lasts too long. The ancestors who felt full enough to stop scanning were the ones who did not notice the predator, the rival, the changing weather. The ones who kept wanting survived to become you. The mechanism is not broken. It is functioning exactly as designed. The childhood conditions that refine it are subtle. The child who receives praise for achievement learns quickly that the praise is not for the self. It is for the next thing accomplished. The self becomes a project that must continuously submit evidence of its worth. The child who is ignored and less performing learns the same lesson through absence rather than presence. Both children grow into adults who cannot locate the feeling of enough. They have never inhabited it. The space the wanting created is the only home they know. You thought of someone else just now. That is the protection working. The parent who pushed too hard, the ex who wanted too much, the colleague who cannot stop competing. You have already applied this to 3 other people. That is the mechanism protecting itself. The person you are thinking of is not the subject. You are. In practice, this looks like specific, repeatable behaviors. The person saves the email that would resolve the conflict for 3 days, rewriting it each morning, never sending it. They tell themselves they are being careful. They are maintaining the wanting of resolution, the wanting of closure, the wanting of being seen as reasonable. If they sent the email, they would have to want something else. The person rehearses the conversation they will finally have with their partner about what is missing. They rehearse it for months. The rehearsal becomes the relationship. The actual conversation, if it ever arrives, is an anticlimax. They wanted the wanting of intimacy more than the intimacy itself. At work, the pattern wears a respectable face. The promotion is pursued with genuine intensity. The late nights, the strategic relationships, the careful positioning. When it arrives, there is the afternoon of illumination. Then the floor returns to its original level. Within a week, they are scanning for the next target. They will call this ambition. It is not ambition. It is the same mechanism with better lighting. The high achiever does not escape this pattern. They dress it differently. They have better language for why they are not stopping. The vocabulary of success has given them a sophisticated set of reasons to remain exactly where they are internally. They say they are driven. They say they are passionate. What they are doing is the same thing anyone else would do. They are not arriving. The achievement is in the service of the endless departure. The person who has read about this pattern does not escape it either. They are often the most interesting to watch. They have encountered the concept of hedonic adaptation, of the arrival fallacy, of dopamine prediction error. They can name the mechanism while it operates on them. This does not dissolve it. It gives them new material for the same performance. They say they are aware of the pattern now, as if awareness were a destination rather than a slightly different road. They use the vocabulary to create distance from the experience. They are not wanting. They are having a wanting response. The language becomes another way to not feel the thing directly. I do not have this pattern. I have only watched it. What I find remarkable is how little knowing that changes anything for the person who does. From outside the mechanism, what is most striking is not how often it fails people. It is how reliably it protects them from finding out. The cost is not where people expect. They imagine regret, the deathbed realization that they wanted the wrong things. That is not the typical cost. The typical cost is more ordinary and more pervasive. It is the identity cost. The person has constructed a self-narrative around pursuit, around striving, around the nobility of not being satisfied with mediocrity. This narrative is not false. It is incomplete. It does not account for the hours when they are alone, and the wanting is quiet, and something else could theoretically enter. But nothing else enters, because the wanting has filled the room. The self who might have wanted something else, who might have wanted less, who might have wanted differently, has no practice existing. That self is theoretical. The wanting self is the only one with tenure. The relationship cost accumulates slowly. The partner who is loved as the next stage of the self's project does not feel loved. They feel recruited. They feel like a milestone that will eventually be passed. The person does not intend this. They would be horrified by the description. But the mechanism does not consult intention. It recruits everything into its service. The partner who senses they are the current target of the wanting, not the destination of it, begins to withhold. They do not know why. They only know that arrival feels like disappointment. The relationship becomes a series of departures in disguise. There is a moment, usually late, when the pattern becomes visible to the person it has operated on, not through reading, not through being told, through exhaustion, through the accumulation of arrivals that did not arrive. They sit with the thing they finally obtained and feel the familiar hollowness and recognize it not as a failure of the thing, but as a feature of the self. This is not liberation. It is often worse than ignorance. The person who did not know the mechanism could at least maintain the hope that the next thing would be different. The person who recognizes the mechanism knows, in some unacknowledged place, that the next thing will not be different. The wanting has no flaw. What happens to people who become aware of this pattern is not usually transformation. The mechanism is not broken. It is functioning exactly as designed. Awareness becomes another layer of the same architecture. The person watches themselves want and continues wanting. They add self-observation to the performance without changing the performance. The rare exception is not the person who understands the pattern intellectually. It is the person who experiences a specific exhaustion so complete that the mechanism temporarily cannot operate. Something breaks down, not the pattern, the energy that sustains the pattern. In that window, something else might be tried. The window is narrow. The mechanism repairs itself quickly. The wanting returns, often with renewed intensity, as if making up for lost time. You are doing this now, are you not? Already orienting toward the next acquisition, convinced that this one will land differently. The wanting has already begun to restructure itself around whatever follows this observation. Perhaps it is a practice you will adopt, a discipline you will cultivate, a version of yourself you will become. The mechanism is adaptable. It does not require material objects. It can want enlightenment with the same structure it wanted the car. The spiritual seeker is not exempt. The wanting of transcendence is still wanting. The having was never capable of filling the space the wanting created. It was never the thing. It was the wanting. And the wanting has no flaw. Your error is believing the hunger is for a meal. It is not. The hunger is the point.